Welcome back to NaturalOne, the channel that's sort of like a child actor. They aren't exactly good, per se, but you can tell they're trying their best. Today, we're back to doing what we do best, shoving fan-favorite characters into the rule set that is D&D 5e. And this week, it's 11 from Stranger Things. Let's see how that telekinesis, ego obsession, and upside-down trauma translate when she steps off the screen and onto the table.
Oh, Jesus.
Ghost.
Before we get into the psychic freakouts and running up that hill, let's break down 11's stats, because you can't really capture her without knowing what makes her tick. We'll start with a 15 in charisma. She's intense in a way that makes people look twice. Whether it's Hopper trying not to worry, Mike desperately trying to talk sense into her, or even some mouth breathers on the playground. We'll follow that up with a 14 in dexterity. Dodging shadow monsters, flipping tables, and hauling ass through Hawkins streets takes some serious agility. Or, bike riding ability. Next up, we'll put the 13 in wisdom. 11 notices patterns, reads people, and senses danger. Though sometimes she's still a little too trusting of the wrong folk. Hardy 12 in constitution, because between lab experiments, Demogorgon fights, and just existing in a cold, messed up world, she's surprisingly resilient. An average 10 in intelligence. I mean, she's not dumb, but she is just a kid. And she spent a lot of time with Hopper to boot. Finally, a measly 8 in strength. She's not exactly bench pressing, anything material, but when she's focusing her mind, she doesn't need to be. Plus, she's not the one who joined the basketball team.
You are like Papa!
11 isn't an elf, a tiefling, or anything mystical or magical by birth. She's just a human who got experimented on until her brain could fold space. Variant human fits perfectly, and we use those flexible bonuses to bump wisdom to 14 and charisma to 16. Her starting feat is telekinetic, because, it makes sense. It also gives her the last nudge to charisma 17, which feels exactly right for someone who can crush a Demogorgon's skull while bleeding from the nose. She also gets proficiency in sleight of hand, which, yes, is absolutely for stealing egos with a kind of casual confidence only a traumatized psychic kid could muster. You could pick a bunch of things for 11's background, but nothing quite captures I grew up in a lab, escaped through a drain pipe, and now the upside down won't leave me alone, like Haunted One. Her skills here are Arcana, because she understands weird supernatural phenomena on a gut level, and Survival, since half her life is running from monsters, agents, or the bad man.
Friends don't lie.
We kick things off the only way you realistically could for 11. Straight into Warlock with the Great Old One as her patron. Not because she signed a pact with some cosmic squid god, but because her whole I can hear your thoughts and maybe also melt your brain energy just fits too perfectly. Awakened Mind is basically her baseline power set. Quiet, eerie communication without moving her mouth. Just like when she talks to Will in the Void. For her skills, we grab Investigation, because you can't survive Hawkins without snooping through at least one creepy basement, and Intimidation. Mostly because staring someone down is her entire personality for the first 2 seasons. Mind Sliver hits that psychic spike vibe, and for the last spell, we'll get Eldritch Blast. Eldritch? Get it? Like her name? God, I'm clever. And for spells, Dissonant Whisper and Cause Fear lean hard into that I could ruin you with a nosebleed and a glare menace. Level 2 and she picks up her first set of invocations, and we grab Armor of Shadows, since 11 lives in a constant state of, Hopper, please don't let the lab people get me, and, she doesn't exactly wear full plate. Repelling Blast gives her the signature shove. The classic 11 move where she chucks a fully grown adult across a room like she's swatting a fly. For spells, Unseen Servant is straight up telekinesis. Grab a book, move a radio dial, float an ego towards you because a balanced breakfast is a waste of time? Yes, please. With level 3, the talisman for her pact boon feels right here. Not a weapon, not a grimoire, but a small, emotionally charged object she channels all her psychic baggage into. Think of it like that one little thing she keeps because it reminds her she's actually human. And Hold Person? Yeah, that's literally her stopping people in their tracks with nothing but raw willpower. Season 1 Benny's Diner type stuff. If you know, you know. At level 4, we boost Charisma up to 18 with Gift to the Gem Dragon, which fits her whole psychic explosion of Force Steel. Plus, Telekinetic Reprisal is incredibly 11 coded. It's basically the mechanical version of, you touched my friend, so now I'm going to throw you into a wall. For spells, we had Friends, because, I remember her being pretty obsessed with them as a concept, and Mind Spike, which is just her ripping through someone's consciousness like she's tuning a radio to the exact station of their nightmares. Level 5 brings another invocation, Lance of Lethargy, which slows enemies down, and that's basically the Demogorgon fight philosophy. Don't outrun the monster, make the monster move like it's knee-deep in syrup. Like a waffle. Egos. Anyway, Counterspell fits perfectly too. Think shutting down psychic gates, mind tricks, or whatever monster nonsense Vecna is trying to pull today. Level 6 is where 11 really starts feeling like she's leveling up mid-season. Entropic Ward is basically her danger sense reflex when something tries to hit her. The universe itself seems to flicker, glitch, and miss. Think Season 3 Malphite. For spells, we grab Dispel Magic, which is honestly the closest thing D&D has to, nope, I'm shutting the supernatural nonsense down. Exactly the kind of thing you wish she could have done to the Mind Flayer the moment it sprouted those gross meat spider legs. Rebuke of the Talisman comes at level 7, and lets her lash out when someone crosses her boundaries. Emotionally, physically, or, interdimensionally. It's that sudden psychic backlash that happens whenever the lab thinks they have her contained, right before she snaps and flips the van. And Banishment? 11 is literally known for sending monsters back to where they came from. Level 8 gives us an ability score improvement, and with it we bump Constitution to 14, because 11 deserves to survive at least one fight without face-planting afterward. Remove Curse lines up beautifully with her arc of untangling traumatic psychic connections. Vecna stuff, shared mind stuff, Willis stuck in the wall screaming again stuff, you get it. With level 9, we get another invocation, and Grasp of Hadar gives her the opposite of Repelling Blast. Now she can yank things towards her, giving her even more telekinetic control. And Contact Other Plane? That's basically the sensory deprivation void. 11 sitting in a dim kiddie pool, tuning into another dimension with only a blindfold and a nosebleed to keep her company. Classic L. Level 10 grants her Thought Shield. Now, if Vecna wants to try something, he just may have a little trouble. But her real power comes from her cantrip, True Strike. Now she's got godlike power indeed. Level 11. Get it? Like your name? I hope this level is good. It'd be super embarrassing if it was just spells or something. Let's see. Warlock 11 gives her Mystic Arcanum, so we grab Mental Prison for some strong psychic visions. She also picks up Dream, which is basically her kiddie pool void walk. And yes, I know we already had one of those, but this one's better. Trust me. And, well, I think that's enough Warlock, don't you?
I dump your ass.
Hitting level 12 and dipping into Bard is honestly perfect. She gets Persuasion because she can be persuasive. Look, it makes sense. Bardic Inspiration isn't quite Sing Neverending Story levels, but she is inspiring in her own way. Her spell list does get a little chaotic. Blade Ward, Message, Silvery Barbs, Thunderwave, Command, and Detect Magic. But she's also chaotic, so it fits. Thunderwave especially. That's the telekinetic push she uses every time she gets overwhelmed and decides to fling someone across the room instead of dealing with emotions like a normal child. By level 13, she picks up Jack of all trades, which fits because she pretty much tries everything in Stranger Things. Friend, daughter, soldier, telekinetic WMD, mall mage, whatever. Song of Rest is her ego break, and Magical Inspiration is her boosting someone mid-fight because she believes in them with all the unstoppable intensity of a feral lab kid. Sleep is a spell here because, honestly, it feels like half her psychic attacks end with someone unconscious anyway. Level 14 brings her to Bard level 3 and the College Whispers. And if you don't think 11 would weaponize trauma as psychic daggers, you haven't watched the show. I mean, you probably have, and she definitely doesn't make daggers. But if we ignore psychic blades and focus on something else, hopefully you won't leave the video. Words of Terror is literally just how she talks to bullies. We also grab Expertise in Persuasion and Arcana. She does have that uncanny ability to decode supernatural nonsense faster than the grown adults around her, after all. Calm Emotion slots in beautifully as the Hopper please stop yelling I'm trying to help spell. Or Mike, or actually a lot of people yell at her. Level 15 gives her a tiny ranger dip, which honestly fits her whole run into the woods and survive arc. Also, it'll make more sense soon. But for now, Perception comes standard. She notices things people miss. Favorite Foe is basically her whole deal with the Demogorgons. Vecna, Shadow Monsters, whatever's trying to kill her this season. I don't know yet. I'm waiting till everything's out. Deft Explorer with Canny gives her Expertise in Investigation. Because, let's be real, 11 is always the first one to sense something is wrong, while everyone else is still arguing over walkie-talkie protocol. Level 16 continues the ranger streak, and honestly, blind fighting is just correct. She's been swinging at things in pitch black monster dimensions since she was like 8? So yeah, sure, give her the ability to sense creatures she can't see. Good barriers are Hopper, you didn't pack lunch, backup plan, and absorb elements is absolutely that moment where something horrifying hits her and she just absorbs it. Oh, look, I'm doing my best here, okay? Level 17 bumps her to Ranger level 3, and this is where the dip pays off. Primal Awareness is just, uh-oh, something's wrong, give me a second, which is her whole deal. And Horizon Walker? Come on. She's been punching holes through dimensions since Season 1. Detect Portal is her tilting her head going, yeah, it's over there. And Planar Warrior is the psychic crackle she gets when she's about to absolutely ruin someone's day. Protection from Evil and Good is her anti-Vecna spray. Speak with Animals is useless in the Upside Down, but she probably still tries it anyway. And Hunter's Mark? It's not only for combat after all. This is how she keeps track of Will when he inevitably disappears again. Level 18 marks the beginning of her fighter dip, which I know is weird, but I need you to stick with me here. Second Wind is her wiping a nosebleed and insisting she's fine, while superior technique with commanding presence is that deadpan stare she gives people that somehow counts as a full intimidation check. Level 19 is a second level in fighter, and she finally gets Action Surge, which is perfect because she's always pulling some suddenly I can do way more than I should be able to stunt in the last 5 minutes of a season. Level 20 wraps it all up with Psy Warrior, which is based off her intelligence, but I don't want to hear it. It fits, okay? Psionic power is the mechanical version of her whole aesthetic. Telekinetic bursts, psychic shielding, raw force of will blowing monsters across the room. Her nosebleeds, things explode, someone yells 11 and boom, credits roll. See? Cinematic.
I make my own rules.
11 may be a walking nosebleed with impulse control issues, but on a character sheet, she's an absolute powerhouse. Here's what she brings to the table. She's a crowd control queen. Elle has absurd crowd control, with whole person, banishment, mental prison, dissonant whispers, fear, sleep, eldritch blast, push, and pulls. She basically specializes in telling the battlefield no. She's also got psychic damage for days. With Warlock and Bard spells plus Psy Warrior, this means she has more psychic themed nonsense than Vecna's Diary. Mind Sliver, Psychic Blades, Mental Prison, her psionic energy dive, you get it. She's like a walking concussion grenade, but like emotional. She's actually a surprisingly solid face character. With that boosted charisma, persuasion expertise, bardic inspiration, and the uncanny ability to stare into someone's soul and make them rethink their life choices, she's actually a fantastic party face. Not bad for a child actor. And she's the upside down whisperer. Between Horizon Walker, Planar Warrior, Detect Portal, Contact Other Plane, and just, being 11, she's your go-to girl for anything extra dimensional. Finding portals, talking through portals, shoving things back through portals. If it involves the multiverse, she's already halfway there with a blindfold on. Even with all that psychic firepower, 11's build isn't flawless. Here's the aspects of her build that get a little upside down. She's a squishy little nosebleed machine. Yeah, her constitution is fine, but she's still rocking a 14 in constitution at level 20. She's not exactly tanking hits. If something gets through her control and smacks her in the face, she folds fast. Too many buttons, not enough action economy. Her turns are busy. Bonus action Hex, or Bardic Inspiration, or Horizon Walker's Planar Warrior, or Misty Step, or Telekinetic Shove, or Cunning Action, or, but actually scratch that last one. But the point still stands. 11 constantly has like 6 things vying for her bonus action, and about 4 good reactions she can't take at the same time. She's powerful, but she's also a nightmare to pilot, so good luck, I guess? And Millie Bobby Brown is... what? Okay. Side tangent. Can we talk about how weird it is that Millie Bobby Brown is married and has a child? She's playing a kid. A literal kid. And I get it. Filming delays, COVID, strikes, aging, the whole Hollywood mess in general. But every time she shows up on screen, I'm like, nope. That's not a child. That's a grown woman pretending to eat Eggos. It's not bad. It's just weird, okay? Sorry, I just had to say it. We can wrap this up now. And that's going to do it for 11. If you like the build, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. It genuinely helps the channel and it makes me happy? I don't know. Got any ideas for who we should build next? Drop them in the comments or tell me how you'd stat out 11. Oh, and if you want the full character sheet from this build or any of our past ones, you can find them all on our Patreon completely for free. You don't have to venture through the Upside Down. Well, that's all I've got for today. I'm off to this weird portal I found, so until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Answer to a never-ending story.